I take this opportunity to introduce Mrs. Neeraja Ganesh, who will be hosting the masterclass today. Neeraja Ganesh decided to switch her career to work in the space of gender diversity after having mentored women from diverse experiences, age groups, industries, and domains to help them grow in their careers. While she mentored women working in her company way back in her IT days, the experience of mentoring women outside of a corporate setup confirmed her belief that much needs to be done to show the path to women in our country who have the innate talent but lack the knowledge of where to find help in terms of mentoring, coaching, networking, and more importantly, understanding that these are important elements in one's professional growth. After volunteering for a couple of years with various initiatives to help the cause of gender diversity, she now heads the Jobs for Her Foundation, which is being set up to bridge the gender gaps in the country. An IT professional till 2017 with a core competencies in project and program management, she headed some of the big portfolios in the top IT companies like ANZ and Capgemini in India. She always had a special interest in helping women grow in their careers and hence had been a mentor to many women. She is now a designated career mentor on many mentorship portals. She was also awarded at a TEDx Women event organized by the Dayanand Sagar Institutions for her 25 years of achievements in the corporate world. Let's get started and over to you, Neeraja.
Thank you for that introduction, Sharnita, and I'm feeling quite nice that today's webinar is not being moderated by me, but I'm presenting it, and on a topic that I think is a very relevant one, not necessarily only for women who've taken a break, but in general, I think. So let me try and share the presentation. Let me get used to this in a bit.
And Neeraja, will you be comfortable taking questions in the end, or would you want to take it as and when they come?
They can put it out, Sharnita. If you feel that there's need to answer it right then you can let me know and I'll pause and take the question. Otherwise, we can take everything in the end.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Now, let me just try and share my screen. I hope everyone is able to see.
Yes, we are able to see.
All right, fine. Okay, so as I said, the topic is quite relevant, not necessarily only for women who've taken a break, but in general for everyone. And let me start by saying that, it also has a lot of myths around it. And there could also be people who kind of mock at you if you say you're working from home, right? I've had that experience in my long career. If somebody said they're going to work from home, some of the questions that would get asked was, hey, are you working from home? Are you going to work for home? Another way of kind of, putting a sarcastic comment would be, okay, enjoy the day. Okay, so while all this exists, I think for those of us who want to really make it work, there are a lot of do's and don'ts that we need to really be aware of before even thinking that, I want to, work from home. So let's get on with today's session. All right. So I think even before you decide that you need to work from home or you want to restart, there are a few questions that you need to ask yourselves. The first of them is, why do you want to work from home? Is it to save commute time? Or do you believe that the kind of work you do is more productive when you do it from home? Or is it for want of a better work-life balance? Or do you think that if I work from home, maybe I can do multiple projects, I can work for multiple companies? Or you just think that it's really easy to work from home? So I think that's a very, very, very first question that you need to ask yourselves. The next question is, when to work from home? Okay. So do you want to work from home on all the days of the week? If it's a 5-day week that your organization offers, do you want to work from home always, forever? Or is it that you want to work from home on certain days? For example, you say on Tuesdays and Thursdays I'll work from home, the other 3 days I can go to the office. Or is it that you don't want to set a routine, but you want that option to be available to you when you need? A very important question to answer. The third question to answer is, how is the infrastructure and support system at home for you so that you can work from home? So what do I mean by that? Do you have a dedicated PC or a laptop for yourself so that you can work? Do you have a good internet connection? Of course, you need to have a phone. Do you have a quiet space where you can work from home? You know, it can be that, okay, fine, I'll just sit in the on the dining table in the dining hall and work. You really need to have a dedicated workspace for you. More than that, when I say support system, you have to ask these questions. So are your kids going to be around you when you're going to work from home? Or are there ailing members of your family because of which you want to work from home so that you're around to take care of them? What is the backup available for all your infrastructure that I spoke about and all your family requirements? And the reason I ask, will your kids or elders be around you, because there may be a need to give them attention when you're working. So that's something that you have to be very cognizant of. The other question that you need to answer is, do people in your house when you're working understand and accept that you're working and not that you're just at home? Are you able to switch off between family and work during work hours? So for example, you've accepted a work from home opportunity and you've said that I'll work between 9 and 12. Are you able to really switch off from whatever else you would otherwise have done at home at that time? Or is it that no, it's a continuous process? You've kept the cooker on the gas and you've gone to do an email and suddenly you hear it whistling, so you go back to the kitchen and come back. Is it that kind of a scenario? Or you've been able to kind of cordon off everything? You are at home, but still you're working and nothing else around you disturbs you. Okay. The other question to ask is, do you have dedicated work hours? So are you committing to work from home? Yes, for sure. But then are you saying that, yes, I'll work 3 hours and those 3 hours are from 9 to 12 or 2 to 5 or whatever it is? Or is it that you're saying that, yes, I'll work from home whenever I can and however I can? And the last question, a very, very important question to answer is, how do you keep yourselves motivated when you work from home? Right? Usually when you do come out and you're in an office environment, you have your peers, there is some socializing that happens, you catch up over lunch, you talk about, a few things, and that's kind of something to keep yourselves happy spirited. But at home, you may be all alone, and sometimes that could become very difficult, right? To be self-motivated and disciplined and work. What is the other question? Have you done your homework about restarting and then restarting by working from home? And this is the most important question, because majority of the people that I come across will just tell me that, hey, I've taken a break and now I think I'm ready to restart. And that might be because they decided that I will be on a break till my child is a year old, and once the child is 1, I'll go back to work. And so the birthday has been celebrated, and so now I'm happy to restart. But there's a lot of homework that needs to be done before you really decide to restart. Because you have a schedule today, which was all around your family, your child, and whatever else. And don't think the day you get a job, you can fix all of that and have another schedule. So you need to really prepare for that change in schedule. So for example, I go back to the 9 to 12. If you're deciding to work 3 hours in a day, today between 9 and 12, you may be doing some activities, which could be spending an hour with your child, finishing up your, cooking for lunch, etc. And that time will not be available for you. So how are you going to manage that? You have to do that preparation before you decide to restart. So maybe you will need a nanny to look after your child for those 3 hours, or send the child to the daycare, or keep the child occupied in some other way, because it's extremely difficult when it's a 1-year-old. And the cooking has to be finished before 9. So there's a lot of schedule changes that you need to practice. So that's some homework. Of course, there are other homeworks in terms of, where do I want to start working, etc. That will happen. But this is very, very important. And especially when you want to restart by working from home, this homework is all the more important for those questions that I asked you. You have to tell your people at home that, hey, I'm going to restart it, but I'm going to be at home, but these 3 hours I'm working. So don't assume that I'm around and, ask me to make a chai or things like that. So very tough questions that you all need to ask yourselves in terms of why do I want to work from home, and have I done all this homework? Am I really ready? Because you want this to be successful for you, right? Now, I really want to point you all to another webinar that Jobs had conducted some time back, which was a work from home guide. And I won't go into those details today because today's session is a little different. But you all definitely should look at the recording of that webinar, because that also tells you the do's and don'ts of a work from home, which is very important for you. After you've asked those questions, let's come to look at what are the problems that we have when we want to restart. The first one, we are unaware of the current industry. So you've taken a break. It might be a couple of months, it could be a couple of years, or it could be longish. But in the way the industry is evolving today, lots is changing, and you probably are not aware of how the current trends of that industry is. So you may have been part of a manufacturing industry, you could have been part of the IT industry before your break. Have you kept in touch? And even if you've kept in touch, suddenly it becomes a lot to take in when you say, I want to restart, and things have changed so much, right? And also about other industries. Maybe you don't want to go back to the industry that you were working in the past, or you don't want to go back to the role that you were doing earlier. So are you aware of what are the new and upcoming industries? That's one of the problems that women have when they want to restart. The second problem that they have is they're very unsure of fitting in with the rest of the organization, because your peers may have gone ahead of you, right? You would have younger people, and sometimes even less in terms of number of years of experience, who may be your peers or even, your bosses. And then it becomes extremely difficult for you to fit in. So that's a mental block that you have to deal with, and that's a problem when you want to restart. You have another problem in terms of, should I continue in the same career stream or should I change career streams? A dilemma, right? You may have been in something which was extremely interesting in the past, but then it was actually very demanding also. And you may be thinking that you don't want to go back to this kind of a demanding industry or a job, and you want to change. So are you aware? First of all, to answer that question, should you change? That's the first question to be answered. And secondly, if you decide that you want to change, then how do you change? Where do you go and look for your next opportunity? This is another big problem. I don't know how many of you appreciate this, but this is one of the things that I come across very, very often. Are you looking for work or are you looking for a career? And there's definitely some difference between the two. Maybe Sharmita, I will just ask people to put in their thoughts in terms of, do they believe these two things are different or not, so that I get a feeler of what people think about this.
Yes, Neeraja, go ahead. Then I'll read it out for you in case.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Do we have anyone who's thinking about what is the difference between these two, or even if you think both are the same, please go ahead and let us know.
Yeah, there's Shilpa who says yes. There's Suma G. Prakash who says yes, it's different.
Yeah, so can they tell me what do they think is the difference?
They just
Shilpa,
is what Vinita says.
Shilpa, Suma, if you can tell me what you believe is the difference between the two?
Vinita says career is advancement. Nitya Prasad says yes, work and career are completely different.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So I'm glad, yeah.
Shilpa says career, you have to plan. Lily James says, 1 minute. There are too many. Okay, Lily James says both are different. Work is short term, career is long term. Smita says career is something that makes you grow. Suma says difference is your thinking and finance till you reach a level. Okay.
Okay, great.
Neha Tripathi says work is about just taking a task and finishing it up and coming back with a salary. Career is an ambitious goal. And
yeah, I think at least the fact that people understand that there's a difference, I'm glad to know that. And people have narrated more or less, what the difference is. But Neha's answer comes very close to what I also would have said, right? So, am I looking to keep myself occupied for a few hours in a day or a week? If that's the question and that's the answer that you have, then I would say it falls under the work category, which is also perfectly fine. No harm in it, right? So now you know that you have a few hours available to yourself, you want to keep yourselves productively utilized, and hence you're looking to work, which is perfectly fine. But then you need to be clear that that is what you are after, right? While a career is, as she said, a much longer term vision. So it's not that I have a few hours and I want to kind of, utilize it. But in terms of, this is the goal that I have for myself, and I expect to be, here. And I'm not saying that, it should be a 5-year vision and a 10-year vision. I'm not going to ask you a question of where do you see yourselves after 10 years, and for you to say, hey, I should be the CEO of a company. It's not that kind of a, goal setting. But definitely in your head, you're very clear that it is not something to just spend a few hours, but it is something in terms of, I really want to grow in a professional environment, and hence I have to pick up a role, and then I learn, and I kind of learn more and do the set of responsibilities and take on additional responsibilities and keep growing in the hierarchy. So that kind of a mindset is what is called or required for a career. And it's very, very important for you to ask yourselves this question very candidly, get the right answer, and only then look for the next opportunity, even to apply, right? And then the last one that we all have is the let go syndrome, or do not let go syndrome. Am I willing to let go of some of my preferences? So till now I was at home and I did everything that was required for my child. Now that I want to start working, if you want to continue to kind of do everything for your child, it's going to be a real stressful situation. So am I willing to let go of a couple of things? Some of us, are very, very health conscious, and we say, okay, I'm always going to cook fresh food. So there's going to be fresh breakfast, and in the afternoon, fresh lunch, and dinner again is going to be freshly cooked. And when you get on to, a full-time job, maybe sometimes it's not possible, right? If you're going to do the cooking yourselves and you don't have help around you. So sometimes you may need to cut your vegetables the previous evening. Very, very difficult to let go. Okay, or you are the one who's always been brushing your child's teeth, and now when you want to start going to the office, you need help. So you have to let go and say, hey, you can ask your husband to brush the child's teeth, or maybe tie the child's shoelaces. And these are things which I have seen people struggle with. So these are some 4 or 5 problems that we all have before restarting, and this is also something that you need to really prepare for before you can even think about a restart. So I'm not even come to the fact of work from home. I'm trying to, tell people that it's not let me jump into something. This morning, the number of messages saying that, Neeraja, do you have a work from home opportunity? I want to apply. What does that mean? The person has not even read what we have said. We have said that today there is a masterclass happening on how to navigate your career using a work from home opportunity. So if you're not even able to give 2 minutes of time to look at what is this and directly go and ask the person, hey, do you have a work from home opportunity? I want to apply, which means that you're not yet in the phase to restart. The phase to restart needs a lot of preparation, a lot of homework, a lot of calming down, a very, very clear view of where you want to go, what you want to do, how you want to do. And then you say, okay, fine, maybe I do a work from home. All right. Now let's look at solution. Of course, problems should have solutions and will have solutions. So the first thing is prioritize. So for all these things that I spoke about, it is very natural, but please sit and prioritize. You want to restart. So where does that particular job, work, career fall in your list of priorities? Is it the topmost, or is it the second, or is it the third? And the top still could be your family, or it could be something else. But it's extremely important to prioritize. And mind you, you can have only one item at every priority. You can't have 2 things at priority 1. It's impossible, right? So it's a priority 1 and then a priority 2. And it's perfectly all right if you put family before your career, job, work. It's perfectly all right. But you need to know that. And it's perfectly all right the other way around also. So if you've decided that I've given enough time to my family and my family can now manage themselves, and I want to put my career as priority 1 for the next few years, that's also perfectly fine. But that prioritization you need to do. Because when you do those prioritizations, some of those problems that we spoke about automatically get eradicated, because decision making, becomes that much more simpler. The next one, prepare. So don't just plunge in. Do you have a work from home job? Or I want to do work from home. That's not the way. You have to do a lot of preparation. So you have to do the research. So first of all, answer all those questions that I spoke about. Do a lot of homework about your industry or the new trends in the industry, so that you are prepared. And once you've prioritized and once you've prepared, then you go chase. Go all out for it. Then there's no stopping you. But what happens is we all go into the chase mode, the first. And then you struggle. Then you say, you know what, this interviewer asked me this question, and hence, he is not being, a good person, etc., etc., etc. I'm not getting calls. Or you're confused. You may even land a job, and after that also you're in a situation because you're not able to manage home and, work. And then you may have to take a break once again because it's becoming extremely stressful. And that's because you've not done 1 and 2. So even if it takes 6 more months, you have decided that you're going to restart when your child is 1. When the child, so what I'm trying to say here is, if that's a decision you have taken, then all of this preparation should happen as the child turns, 9 months old, so that you have 3 months to kind of, work around it, decide how you're going to do, what to do, set up your support system, convince everyone, convince yourselves. And then when the child turns 1, you can go and chase. But for whatever reason, if you've not done that, then don't go and, run behind, okay, I want a work from home job, or I want in this company on this role. Take another 2 months, doesn't matter. Take another 3 months, doesn't matter. Because when you do the preparation, then getting that job becomes that much more easier, and retaining in that job becomes all that much more easier. Great. Okay. Now, so the next question that people will ask is, where do I get all this required information? So there's a lot of questions I've asked, and I need answers to it. Where do I get this information? Okay. So online portals. Of course, Jobs for Her is a great portal, and given that all of you are, registered on this portal, can I have, some text on the chat box to say how much of time you all spend on the Jobs for Her portal, as an example, every day? Is it 5 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? Is it 1 hour? Can people just put in?
Apeksha Chauhan says 30 minutes. Priya says 15 minutes.
Is it every day?
Yeah, Suma says 30 minutes to 1 hour. Rupa says 1 hour. Shilpa says 10 minutes. Yeah, Apeksha Chauhan says approximately about 30 minutes in a day.
Okay, all right.
And good. There are a few others who say 15 minutes, and then some say 25 minutes.
Great.
Yes.
So yeah, I also saw Anita put on the Q&A window 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So the question was not to kind of say that one is better than the other. The point I'm trying to say is, if you are all wanting to restart, then you need to do all this preparation, which means that you need to be spending some time to get all this required information. And one of the ways to get this information is online portals. Jobs for Her is one such online portal, which is, what I try and tell people is, it's like a one-stop shop. It is a one-stop shop for career resources. So not only do you get jobs, as it mentioned on that small picture that I put them, you have mentorship, you have events, you have blogs, you have reskilling, we have online communities. And in 5 minutes, you're not going to be making use of this portal in any day. So you have to actually make use of each and every resource that this portal makes available to you, because that is where you get the required information that I spoke about. Okay. Now, the other place where you can get the required information is from mentors. So, it could be online mentorship, it could be offline meetups, but these mentors have a lot of real industry knowledge and hands-on, information available of whatever you want to ask them. So please do participate, and please do seek out mentors And definitely as part of if you are part of the Jobs for Her fraternity, which you are, you get access to all these mentors via these online webinars, master classes that keep getting conducted. At least there's one every week, if not more. So that's an opportunity for you to, one, get to know about something, because there is always a topic that the mentor is talking about. And then you have access to that mentor. So you can ask questions relevant to that topic, or something else that you really want to ask that person. So that's the second way to get the required information. So the third way, and I'm wondering why this is not moving. Okay, great.
Yes.
Shalita knows the trick. All right. The third and a very, very important way to get the required information is through events. So again, there are tons and tons of events that happen across the country. There are virtual events, but I would also emphasize that you need to go to, physical events. You go meet people face to face. And how do you get the information at events? So these events could be conferences on a particular topic. It could be a technology related topic. It could be human resources kind of a topic. So you have all these fascinating speakers who will come and give their perspective. And that's the easiest way to get the information that you are not even aware that there is something like this, and you have to go after it. And of course, then another opportunity to network also with the people who have come to attend the event, and you kind of bond better, have a better community, you have a better networking, and it's a very good source of the required information. And finally, of course, there's a lot of online content. So you have to spend time reading. A lot of newsletters are available online. Subscribe to them based on what you believe you want to know more about. And on social media, that's I think the easiest way to get content. So for example, if you want to get back into the technology world, and I keep giving examples of technology maybe because I've had 25 years of technology behind me, and you want to know the latest trends happening in technology, you could go and follow a few companies in the tech space, and on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and you will see your LinkedIn feeds and Twitter feeds having posts from those companies. Or you could follow some very key personalities in that space, and you will see that they keep posting an article or their views about current trends, etc., and it will keep coming on your LinkedIn profile, on your LinkedIn page, as well as your Twitter page. And this is the easiest way to know what's happening, and where you want to kind of, is this something that you even want to try and go after? So all of this means there's time that you need to spend, and this is a good way to prepare for the restart. So going back to that example of, you want to do a 9 to 12 job, and you want to do it, for example, after your child is 1.5 years old. As the child turns 1, you ensure that you have 3 hours available for you every day, 9 to 12. So first set up your home support system infrastructure for that. And then when this 3 hours is now magically available to you, you've got to do all of these things. Spend time on the online portals, know what events are happening, go and attend that, do your reading, and that is the preparation that you are doing. And over a period of time, you become more clear in terms of what is it that I am after. And then you come to the question of, should I actually work from home? Can I work from home? Can these kinds of jobs be done from home? Or am I better off actually going somewhere, finishing that, and coming back home and then taking care of the rest of the responsibilities at home? Now we come to the actual topic that we had for the webinar, which is how can a work from home opportunity help build a career? But I thought this background was extremely important. Otherwise, if I just give this list of things that I give now, that you will see now on this slide, it will still not help you, because you wouldn't have done the preparation, you wouldn't have done the prioritization, you wouldn't have answered the questions around, do I have a space at home, is my family going to accept me as working from home, or they're going to see me sitting at home and hence still think that I'm available for anything and everything, right? All right, now how can a work from home opportunity help build a career? As I said, there are a lot of myths, and it's not only for women on a break, even for someone who's going to office every day, if one of the days she or he says, I'm going to work from home tomorrow, they're very funny kind of comments that will come. So you have to first understand that it is going to be helping you build a career, and then be able to explain to the others that this is not something that I'm doing just because I'm not able to go anywhere, but it is something as a building step and a foundation towards the next goal that I have for my career. Okay. Now remember the internships at college. Why would you do the internships? And of course, internships didn't exist in my days, but I think in the last few years, every college, offers internships or encourages their students to, at the undergraduate level to go and do some internships. So what did you get from them? Basically, you utilize your time. So instead of the 2 months of summer that you otherwise would have whiled away, you're actually going and working somewhere. So you're utilizing your time. You're learning. You get industry experience. You are understanding the ways of working in an organization, because otherwise it's all theory, right? I've learned this at the college. The day I go to work, everything will be fun and everything is great, but that's not the reality. So these internships kind of help you set the expectations and say, hey, okay, the life outside of college is so very different. And of course, you're also going to make some money. You really gain in your confidence, because now you are not just a college fresher, but you're actually working and you've got that experience. It also makes your resume look better. You also feel at par with others, because your peers, your friends may be doing internships and you also are doing it. So you kind of, feel that, okay, fine, now I'm equal. I can have something to talk about in common. I can talk about my company versus her company or his company, right? So just like those internships at college had, maybe starting off with a work from opportunity in terms of building a long career. It helps you take the time. Right? So supposing you want to do 4 hours of work, but you realize that the office that you are getting a job at itself takes 4 hours, of commute time. So 2 hours one way and 2 hours to return, which means that you need to dedicate 8 hours if you have to be able to go to that office and work. But if you were able to do the same thing from home, then perfect, right? You are able to deliver. So you're taking one step at a time. It suddenly doesn't become so very taxing that, oh my God, I have to reach that. And to reach that, I need to hire a cab, which means that, so much of money I have to drain on the cab. And then because I'm away from home, who's going to kind of look after, you may have hired a nanny, but you're not still confident, that that lady is going to take good care of your child. So suddenly there'll be 100 things that come into your mind, and, it becomes more stressful. So maybe if you do a work from home job, you're taking one step at a time. So everything else kind of remains the same. Of course, as I said, you have to cordon it off to say, now I'm working, there has to be a workspace, etc. But still you are sitting at home, and maybe you can still keep an eye on the nanny, and you kind of develop more confidence on her to look after your child, right? So you've taken one step at a time, and that kind of helps you go ahead. Okay, this is an important one. So if you are working from home, obviously there aren't too many overhead costs for companies. So if you have seen some of the offer letters that companies give, so there will be a gross salary, net salary, and there will be something called as a CTC, right? Cost to company, which means that you actually cost more than what your salary is to the company, right? The salary is something that the company is giving you, but the cost to the company is high that, because actually take care of a desk fee, they provide you to provide time and a few other things that the office environment has to provide. So if you're working from home, suddenly those companies don't have the overhead cost. So that can be an opportunity. You could negotiate looking for people, working from home, so that kind of, hello, is everyone able to hear me?
Yes, I'm able to hear you, but the PPT
Okay.
is not shared.
Okay, all right. Let me try and share it now. Share. I think I was here. Are you able to see it now?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So I hope you were able to see and hear me when I was talking about take one step at a time.
Yes.
And then I was talking about no overhead costs for companies, which is basically you could negotiate to say that I work from home. So maybe you could, add in the cost that otherwise the companies would have had to bear for office space, etc., to the salary that you can get. or the companies will feel that a work from home is better because they have reduced costs. So whichever way, the opportunity that is available is a bit more than what otherwise it would be. So now I think we are in the same situation of it's not going to the next point, and I'll wait for it as Sharnita told me earlier.
Yeah, a couple of minutes and then.
Okay, so while it comes up, I will anyway keep talking. So the fourth point that I have mentioned here is a work from opportunity doesn't have any location constraints. So you are in Bangalore, you'll only be looking for Bangalore options, which means that if there were 100 jobs in India, in Bangalore there are only 10 jobs and you could apply only to 10. Now suddenly you can apply to all the 100 jobs across the country, if all of them were work from home, or if you believe that you could still work from home and deliver to those requirements. So there are no location constraints. Okay, it's not moving ahead and getting the next point, but I'll continue talking. I don't want to waste time. So the fifth point is explore different organizations and different roles. Now this happens, if you decide to be a freelancer and not necessarily attach yourself as an employee for a company. And that's also something that you could explore if you want to work from home. So as a freelancer, all you need to do is kind of look across all the freelancing projects that are available, and there are plenty of sites today that list out all the freelancing projects. And you could actually be doing 2 or 3 projects, very diverse projects, maybe even different diverse kinds of roles that you could be doing from different companies. So it expands what you could do, and it also gives you much more diverse experience, which you can use it for yourself at a later point in time. Shalita, this is just not moving ahead.
Okay.
You could the sixth option that I have mentioned is be your own boss, which means that you are no longer looking to get employed, but you want to maybe start off on your own. So you could explore entrepreneurship opportunities from home. And I see a lot of women, trying to do that. It could be that you have a few hours available, you had a passion that you want to, pursue. When you were on a break, you did a few things as a hobby or, as a relaxation or as, something that you had always wanted to do and now you had time, and hence you could convert that into a business opportunity. So that's also something that you can look at if your mindset is tuned to let me work from home, right?
Neeraja, do you want to take it off and share it again?
So going back again, no location constraints, explore different organizations and different roles. That is if you decide to be a freelancer, be your own boss. That is if you decide to start off something on your own. And the last point is very important, right? The future of work. You may have continuously heard about future of work, Industrial Revolution 4.0. So future of work seems to be a gig economy. Now, what is a gig economy? Does anyone know what is a gig economy? Show of hands if someone knows, if they can explain in brief what it is, what they think it is. Any answers coming in, Sharnita?
Yes, there's one. No, this was for another question. She says someone had raised an hand.
Okay. All right. So let me explain. So the definition is that it's a labor market characterized by the prevalence of short-term contracts or freelance work as opposed to permanent jobs. So if you do some reading up, you will know that everyone's predictions are that in the near future, we are going to be moving towards a gig economy, which means that, of course, jobs are going to be there. You can't just go away from organizations and employment. But it is going to move more and more towards let me contract, and I have a project for 6 months, you are available for 6 months, let's come together, deliver on the project and move on. So more in terms of contractual work, freelance work is what we are moving towards. So if you are preparing today for a work from home opportunity, then you are probably also, working yourselves towards the gig economy, which is what is going to come in the near future. So in a report titled Future of Jobs in India, and I have actually, I think, given a link to this later, but I would like to read this quickly. This is a report which was brought out by NASSCOM, FICCI and Ernst & Young. It said, The first area of employment opportunities is the emergence of new ways of white collar working, which is also known as gig economy. So economists have created an online labor index which measures the utilization of online labor across countries and occupations. So when they say online labor, basically people who are not going to offices and working, but working remotely. So this online labor index measures the utilization of online labor across countries and occupations. So it's again not existing in the same way in every country, and again in all the kinds of roles and industries. They are tracking the number of projects and tasks posted on platforms. India is the leading country on this OLI, online labor index, with a 24% share of the online labor market. So the gig economy is providing employment opportunities to Indian software developers, creative and multimedia professionals, online sales and marketing professionals, writers, translators, and data entry operators. And this employment market is only expected to grow significantly in the coming years. So that's good news for all of us, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Neeraja, we have two queries. So,
Okay.
Apeksha Chauhan asks, hi, I would like to know is how personality change if you keep working from home and not meet people day to day, as against going to office, meeting different people. How this can be override? I'm not getting.
Yeah.
Okay. You can go ahead.
Okay, so if I were to paraphrase that, basically, one of my pointers was that do ask yourselves how do you keep yourselves motivated, right? If you're working from home, because when you go to an office, whether you like it or not, there are 10 people around you, and you interact, and we are all we call social animals, so we do interact on various topics. So it also provides us some kind of a motivation. Now, if you've decided that you want to work from home all days of the week, then you have to find your own ways to motivate yourselves, and that could be that you decide that over the weekend you have some social interactions, and it could be with your friends or it could be with people at work. So there may be others like you who are working from home. So in a team of 10, probably work from home option is given to all of them, and everyone decides that they'll come together on a Friday and meet up for lunch, or or something like that. So you have to find that motivation for yourselves, because yes, it is important for you to meet people also. So also going back to that slide where I said that you need to do the preparation or find the required information before you restart, that doesn't mean that only when you are in the preparation mode you have to do all of that. You have to continuously be doing that, because how else do you know how your industry is shaping itself, or what newer opportunities are coming. So you still need to continue to go to events, meet people, network, and all of that definitely needs to be done. So yes, there could be, yeah, as you said, personality, a different kind of personality that you may envisage for yourselves because you're continuously working from home, but that's something that you should prepare for before you decide to work from home. Is there any other question?
Yes. Anita wants you to quickly run through the slides after your presentation at the end. I don't know if we want for it. Then you will
fine. Sure.
Yes, okay. And one more question. Yeah. Nagalakshmi asks, how can I update myself during work from home?
So see, whether you're working from home, whether you're not working, whether you're working in an office, you have to be continuously updated. Okay, that's an imperative. So learning is not for an end goal of I have to get a job. Learning is required even otherwise, because that's the only way you stimulate yourself. That's the only way you know what's happening around you. That's the only way you can have conversations with people when you meet them, be it your friends or your colleagues. That's the only way you present yourselves, and that's the only way you become role models for your family also, right? Your child will be looking up at you, and if you are not aware of what's happening around you, the child also learns in the same manner. So the same things that you would do to kind of update yourselves around what's happening, be it a technology topic, anything else, it's the same whether you're working from home, not working, or working from an office. And I go back to the where do you find the required information? All the online portals today have. Jobs for Her has enough and more in terms of blogs, enough and more webinars that we conduct. There are so many events that get posted, so please go and attend them. Mentorship is available, and Google is a great help. So go and Google out on topics, and as I said, please be on social media, follow the relevant companies, follow the relevant topics and influencers or people that you wish to hear from or you believe are doing great work and you want to know more about it. And automatically, you have information coming on your screens which you can read, absorb, and then if you find something extremely interesting, then you can maybe go and do a course on that. So I'm not even saying invest in yourself by doing courses. That's kind of the last thing, because you have to be very clear what you're getting out of that course. But in general, you want to keep yourselves knowledgeable. These are all the various ways to do so.
Yes. We have another one from an attendee whose name is not mentioned here. She asked, how do I overcome career gap to get work from home opportunities? Hello, Neeraja.
Yeah, I'm here.
Again.
Yeah.
There's another question from an attendee whose name is not mentioned here.
Yeah, so Sharmita, can you just unmute her and ask her to, speak out the question? Then I'll get a little more clarity on that.
Okay, definitely. Don't see her. It's an anonymous attendee.
Okay, what was the question?
The question was, 1 minute. How do I overcome career gap to get work from home opportunities?
So I'm not able to understand the question very clearly, but I'm assuming she means that, okay, there is a career break. So who will come and give me a work from home job? Maybe that's what the question is. But as I said, it is not only work from home. See, work from home is an aspect that we are talking about because there is a sense in people's minds that it's probably easier and probably it's an easier way to restart. But I've already dismissed all those myths by asking tons of questions in the beginning and also referring you to another webinar that we did about do's and don'ts for work from home, because it's not an easy thing. Okay? It's not an easy thing. So there's a lot of preparation that you need to do before you can get a work from home opportunity. So I'll answer the question in a generic term to say that you have a career break and you want to restart, then go back to the same questions. Are you wanting to restart in the same industry that you worked in, or you want to restart in a different industry, different kind of a role? Then do the same kind of preparation. That slide, let me see if I can go back to that slide so that, yeah, this is the required information. Do this preparation.
Neeraja, we'll have to share your presentation again because we cannot see it.
Yeah, all of this needs to be done. If you, and again I said it's not only for women on a break. Women, men on a break, not on a break, wanting to work or not wanting to work. This is something that we all need to do so that we are up to date about what's happening in industry. So this is the only way to bridge the gap, whether you want to go for a work from home opportunity or for any other job. Feed yourself with as much data as you can, and once you've zeroed in, or at least know that I think I want to look at, say, a digital marketing space for my future, then you can start investing time in reading more about digital marketing, maybe doing a course, doing a volunteer opportunity, somewhere on that. But before that, this is the whole gamut of things that you need to prepare.
Yes.
Any other questions?
And Priya wants links to go through that was present in the PPT. I think this was a slide. She wants the links too.
So there will be 2 links given in this slide deck. So you can share this deck later, Shanita, with everyone. Yes. So the first link is the work from home guide. That's Ujjwala's webinar, which is available, and that's a must for everyone. And the next link, so I was talking about the gig economy, right? So there's a link available to that report, and it's a very interesting report. It goes beyond, just what we are talking about, a work from home opportunity. It talks about the future of work and, specifically in different countries. So that's something that you should be aware of. So don't make a very narrow-minded approach that, okay, I want something and I'm getting something which will keep me going for the next 6 months. You may end up with, nowhere to go after 6 months. So also be cognizant of how, the future of work is shaping up so that you start preparing yourselves for that long-term career also. Okay. So let me move on, because I don't know how we're doing for time. And I have one more slide which talks about what kinds of opportunities can be looked at. So one, of course, is in the education field. You have like online tutors, so that's an option. If you have been a teacher in the past, or you think that you have a good grasp and command on a particular subject, then online tutoring is something that you can look at. And it is not only for subjects taught in schools. You could also do online tutoring today for different kinds of art forms. So I know that music is also taught online, so over Skype and things like that. So become a bit more creative. There could be opportunities for curriculum developer. So today, many of the institutes want to develop their own curriculum. So of course, there are prescribed textbooks, but there is also additional, content that gets developed. And so you could, take that as an opportunity. Career counselor is also an opportunity that is available. Of course, you need to know a lot more about, what careers are available, but that's something that you can do from home, online counseling. Then in the human resources space, recruitment is an opportunity that you could do from home, right? And in all the domains. So you could be a recruiter for technology, you could be a recruiter for marketing, whatever. So I see lots of work from home, jobs posted. On our own website, I did some, queries before starting preparation for this masterclass. On that day, there were 100 open work from home positions. And I just took what were the top 5 or 6, and this is what came up. So this is actually stats from that data. So I'm not just talking from Google's point of view, but this is what was available on our own website. Okay. Then of course customer service. So you have telecalling kinds of jobs, back office operations, again across domains, and content writer. This is also a very highly progressing industry, and I think this is a very good field to be in. It takes a while for you to become a good content writer. But the bit is a bit, which is very good about this is that of course you get a salary or you get paid. But the amount of learning you get from this, because you're writing content on a variety of things. And you cannot be an SME on all of that, right? So you are actually going to read up and then you're going to write it for the required audience. So the learning that you're going to get out of a content writing job is going to be immense, and that learning will further take you, in terms of your next step in the career. Digital marketing. So again, across all industries, there's enough and more scope, and digital marketing can be done from home. You don't necessarily have to go and sit in an office somewhere, to do that. So that's also an opportunity that you can look at. And in the IT space, there are quite a few jobs that can be done from home. But today, because most of the delivery mechanisms are moving to agile, which means that you want the developer and the designer and the tester and with the customer to sit together and in an agile method, try and deliver. So it sometimes could become difficult, but testing as an option can be done, from home, because all you need to know is what is the requirement for the software that's getting developed, and you can have your use cases, test cases, and do the testing from home and deliver it. So these are some of the top job opportunities posted as work from home on the Jobs for Her portal, and you can now start thinking about where you can align yourselves and start looking and applying for these kinds of jobs. And finally, before I get on to more Q&A questions, this is again a snapshot from that report. With 24% share of the global online gig economy, India freelancers are charting new work arrangements. Okay, as mentioned earlier in the report, what constitutes a job will need to be redefined in the future. Any gainful employment that provides income equal to or more than a standard or factory-going job needs to be considered as a job in the future. Indians are embracing various kinds of employment in an on-demand gig economy. Freelancing, Uber models. So what are Uber models are also explained in that report. Entrepreneurship, we spoke about it. Self-employment, which could be freelancing again, within a job ecosystem of an e-commerce setup. And technology-enabled knowledge service provision and development sectors. So that figure down, it's talking about where these kinds of demands are there and where they think these demands will be. So the highest, and again, it's by countries. So in India, of course, the dark gray, software development and technology has quite a bit. Creative and multimedia, writing and translation, clerical and data entry, sales and marketing support, professional services, which is consulting. So I think what I said on the left side, which was basically taking all the job opportunities posted on Jobs for Her, and if I look at the right, which is actually an Ernst & Young report, kind of converges. So this is real. So this is definitely the starting point of the gig economy, a work from home option. And going forward, I can see more and more industries and more kinds of roles coming into this kind of a workspace. But again, so that's the link which you can and read the entire report, please, because you need to really understand where we are going, regardless of whether you just want a quick job just to keep yourselves occupied for 2 hours. It's important for us to know where the industry is moving. So I will now break for questions. I don't have anything more that I have prepared on today's topic. Let me hear from you and answer some of your questions. I hope we have time.
Yeah, we can take a couple of minutes. We already passed one.
Sure.
We'll take a couple of them since they've been waiting for some time now.
Yeah.
Anita wants to know, when working from home, how should we keep ourselves motivated? Mostly we tend to lose focus and tend to concentrate on housework, kids, phone calls, doorbell, servant maid, the list goes on.
Okay, so how does one keep yourselves motivated? Did I tell you about prioritization, right? You have to be very clear about what your priorities in life are. Once you know what your priority is, then there is no way you can get demotivated because of that. For example, if you feel that your priority is family and work comes next, then you very consciously are going to or should choose a job which allows you to give that kind of time to your family, which means that you may not necessarily get those challenging opportunities in the workspace. You may be doing some vanilla kind of jobs, and you're kind of utilizing your time and you're getting paid for it. So you feel good about it, and you're able to meet your priority one, which was family requirement. So there is no way you should get demotivated because you in your head decided that that's what is most important. So that's the reason half the people are confused, because they don't know what their priorities are. They run after doing something because the rest of the world is doing. My neighbor is able to do, so why can't I want to kind of the peer pressures, or it's already 2 years I'm at home and I no longer want to sit at home. That's not going to help you in deciding where you want to go. Maybe it's already 2 years you've been at home, you're on a break, but if you in your mind and in your heart don't feel that you're still ready to get back because of other responsibilities where you want to kind of focus for another 1 year, so be it. Let your neighbors, other friends go after the job after 2 years. Maybe they have other priorities, or they have other kinds of support systems which are able to enable that. So I always say this, right? Run your race at your pace. You cannot be looking at the whole world and deciding. So once you know that very clearly, I don't think there's much scope of a depression and all of that, or demotivation.
Yes. Priya wants to know, looks like she has some experience in the field of testing.
Okay.
She wants to know, is there content writing specific to software testing?
Yes, why not? So content writing today is available for anything and everything. So almost everyone today who's in business has a website. Almost everyone who has a business today has social media presence. Okay, and if they have a product, then there is always, or services, then they need write-ups for the products and services. Brochures are available and are required. So content writing today is available regardless of industry, regardless of the domain, regardless of the technology. It is there, and that's something that you should explore.
Yes. Neeraja, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Moto G, we don't have the person's name. From where can we get information about freelancing and contract jobs?
So there are lots of websites today. I am not able to recollect. I don't want to give wrong names, and so I will not give it out now. But let me do this. When Shanita sends out the slide deck, I'll also give a list of websites where freelance jobs are posted. But you can also look at jobs for her, because I think there are some freelance kind of opportunities posted on our site also. But there are dedicated sites. I think a couple of names are like Freelancer itself, I think. freelancer.com or something like that. But let me, give you the right names. I'll send it over.
Okay. Rupa wants to know what do people who recruit candidates for work from home look for other than skill sets?
So as I said, the first and foremost is how will you be able to deliver to the job requirements, which is going back to the same questions. Do you have a dedicated workspace? You don't have any disturbance at home while you're working. You have dedicated work hours. You cannot say that I'm at home, so I'm available from 9 in the morning till 12 in the night, and I will deliver this, because it doesn't work for both of you, right? One is there's a lot of disturbance that you have, so your productivity is going to be affected, and the efficiency is also going to be affected. Quality of outcome is also debatable. That's how you want to work. That I will keep going to the kitchen whenever there's a need. If there a guest comes in, then I will cater to the guest. All of that is not possible. How you would behave when you are at the office is exactly how you need to behave when you are at home. And hence the question, why do you even want to work from home, right? You should have a very, very valid reason, which is not that, hey, I can, look after my family also, I can look after my kitchen also, and all of that. That cannot be a reason for you to work from home. So be very clear why, instead of going to an office, you want to work from home, and set up that ecosystem, set up that infrastructure, which is what is going to give confidence to the person who is hiring you to say that, hey, you will deliver. And go back to those to-do lists, the work from home guide, that link that I told you, please refer to that, because that's what is going to build credibility. So if you said that I'm going to be at home between 9 and 12 today, and somebody was trying to reach you and you were not there, it kind of doesn't give you any credibility, correct? So very, very important for you to get that message right in your head.
Yeah. Can we take this one last question?
Sure. There seem to be 20 questions.
Yes.
But probably, if we can take all those questions in some way and I can respond over email, I can do that.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll share my email ID, and you can share questions and we'll answer them.
Sure.
Okay. Mrinalini asked, I attended a few interviews, cleared all rounds, but no positive response from them. Unable to find where the problem is.
Okay. So one thing is that we should always try and seek feedback. So you probably have to keep at going back to the hiring manager or the recruiter and say, I would definitely like some feedback. I don't know how well you're connected. If you're connected over email, then send in a nice way, that it's great for me to get this feedback so that I can prepare well for, the next opportunity either in your company or elsewhere, and try and get that feedback. Otherwise, it's very difficult, to really get. So next time, what you could do is, you could tell the recruiter upfront or the hiring manager upfront that while I'm really wishing that I will get this job, but if I don't, at least I would like to get the feedback in terms of where I should focus more or learn more or prepare more, so that I can be better off at the next interview. So maybe make that statement upfront so you can get the feedback.
Since we've marked an hour for the masterclass, let's close at this.
Yeah.
We've answered a few questions. You all can either send questions into the email ID that I had shared, or you could also get in touch with Neeraja. Neeraja is a mentor with Jobs for Her portal. Please follow her on her mentor page to interact with her.
And maybe another way of kind of, if you want to put in some comments, feedback, suggestions in terms of how this webinar went, on the same event page where you actually register, there is a comment box, so you could leave your question and comment there, and we can try and get back to you from there.
Thank you all for participating, and thanks Neeraja for this wonderful session and giving us tips on how to deal with work from home opportunity to build a career, and how to keep motivated while working from home, which helped all of us understand and engage, including me. Thanks once again for inspiring all of us.
Thank you. Thank you for being a great audience. Sorry that, we couldn't take all the questions. Maybe I didn't time it too well, or, the internet connections, lost some minutes for us. But I will definitely get back in terms of all your queries. And if I'm not able to address them, we will try and work out maybe another webinar or something like that. We'll do something.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.